Was Dr. Kelly murdered? That's the question that we'll try and answer today. And who by? The incision he made with a blunt penknife does not seem to make sense to, unless there was a under the skin bleeding, right, a hematoma into his own body, but the natural flow of blood would be downwards. Now, the natural effect of a cut made in that particular small artery, and is a very small artery, about the size of a pencil could be poked down through it, is a contraction and a movement up the arm. This means that it was unlikely that he died simply from loss of blood, although he may have died from some form of asphyxiation from the airways being blocked as he lost consciousness. That is a possibility, so it might not have been murder. However, we must, if given the scenario that it was murder, we must ask who gains most, cui bono, who profits most. And I would say that we should look at the history of David Kelly and in Iraq, because it's Iraq that is the crucible and the reason for his murder. It wasn't the Iraq War, I believe, that was the overall reason for his murder, but Dr. Kelly destroyed most of Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction, chemical, biological and nuclear. His team under the UN went through the Iraq weapons program after the first Gulf War in 1991 until around up to the point where there was going to be the next war in 2003. So he had all that time and all those resources, the UN, US and Great Britain, to comb through and destroy those weapons. And thousands of tons of weapons were destroyed. And a lot of them we knew about because we were the ones who sold them to him in the 1980s. So we're not completely without blame. That is the great powers, including Russia and China, of course. Now, let's also look at Saddam's long use of terror abroad. When he was trying to support in Arabistan, which is in southwest Iran, an Arab-speaking portion of Iran, which wanted to secede and join Iraq, he sent arms and money and training advisors to help capture the Iranian embassy during the 1980s, which resulted in the use of the SAS for the first time in the public sphere. So Saddam Hussein has a long history of assassinating people he does not like. Could it possibly be that he did not like David Kelly, since David Kelly destroyed Saddam's overall long-term ambition of gaining a nuclear weapon? Quite possibly. Could it have been the Israelis? The Israelis could have simply wanted someone who they believe was a borderline hawk, because David Kelly did want to remove Saddam Hussein, although I doubt he wanted a full-scale war to do it. Probably he preferred a JDAM strike or some form of assassination or some other means through the UN or with pressure from the European Union on trade and sanctions and other such things. It's quite possible. Or was it the Americans who were already on a full-scale hurtling towards logistical full-scale involvement and on a timetable that had inexorably to lead to war? In my view, it has to be the Iraqis, because only Saddam is vindictive and desperate enough to kill someone like David Kelly, and also stupid enough to do it in such a way that it would backfire. That has been his modus operandi, and it's what led to his absolute defeat and fall during the two Gulf Wars. A desperation. The guy was a psychopath, Saddam Hussein, and we must not disassociate Iraq with David Kelly. Iraq was the reason why he was killed, if he was killed at all. That's my view, and I'd like some questions and answers. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. Thank you for listening. Bye.